This is the Louie Tee Network.
I'm ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Overtime! So we head to overtime.
Who else could it be? Me. Your me. Louie Tee. Welcome to Thursday Night Football Overtime. Cleveland Browns 0-9 heading into this game, taking on the 4-4, all of a sudden first place Baltimore Ravens. No one was looking forward to this game. Come on, we all knew what this was going to be. So when everyone started complaining about how boring this game was, and look, don't do that. Don't do it. Because you knew what you were getting into. You knew what you signed up for when you turned on your television set and you turned it to NFL Network tonight. You knew what you were getting yourself into. You knew what you signed up for. Sort of like Hugh Jackson taking the Browns job. Don't look mad. Don't look disheveled. You knew what you were signing up for when you became Cleveland Browns head coach. Don't lie to me before the season starts. I'm looking to win right now. You knew what you were signing up for. Okay. So, guys, cut it out. I had my man Sean Hawk tell me, hey, I wouldn't even be mad if you didn't do a Thursday night overtime tonight. I said, look, man, the Browns and the Ravens need love too, man. Give those boys a hug. They 0-10, man. Give them a hug. They need love too. They probably won't win a game this season. They need a hug, man. Stop. So before we jump into this breakdown, first, let me welcome everybody to the Louie Tee Network. And I don't know if that's going to be the final score. Keep in mind, as I'm doing this video, as I start my video, that's the score. That may not end up being the final score at the end of the game, but that's the score that I left my television set at. So that's going to be the score that you see in front of you. But the records are right. The Browns will be 0-10 after this game, and the Ravens will remain in first place at 5-4. No matter what happens with the Steelers, they will remain in first place going into week number 11. But if this is your first time here on the Louie Tee Network, welcome, and subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. We're over here changing the game, man. Want you to be a part of that. So go ahead, hit that red subscription button and become a part of the movement known as the Louie Tee Network. Also, I'm on Twitter, @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. If you're looking for a lot of football, NFL content, this is the place to get it. And Twitter is the best way for you to know exactly what's going down on this channel. When I upload a live feed, if you turn on your notifications on Twitter, you're going to know exactly when this video starts, and you'll be able to come on board and participate in what we're doing here. So I'll tell you that Twitter is the most effective way to know what's going on here on the Louie Tee Network, especially when you're talking about the live feeds going up. In a case like this game where the game's not over but the live feed starts, if you're on Twitter and you're locked in and you follow me @InTheLabRoom, you'll know exactly when I start my show. And also, I'm on Facebook. In the Lab Room is a Facebook page. I'm going to do some big things with that. Go ahead and give me the thumbs up. Like the Facebook page if you haven't already done so, because I'm going to start doing some big things on that channel. Some exclusive content going over there. So go ahead, like the Facebook page. So let's jump into this thing. And I had my likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe all set up for this game. This had 19-10 written all over it. This had 16-9, 16-10 written all over it. This had 10-6 written all over it. And then the Cleveland Browns decided to change quarterbacks and implode. And it got out of hand. And so, even though I still got my likes, dislikes, banana tailpipe in front of me, this is no longer likes, dislikes, banana tailpipe. We're going to fast track this one with, of course, you know how I do it. When it turns into an ass whooping, a non-competitive football game, it's no longer likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe. It now becomes what I saw from afar. You know how we do it here, man. Don't act like you don't know. It's now what I saw from afar. So let's jump into this. And it's going to have a likes, dislike, banana in the tailpipe feel to it, but it's what I saw from afar. I'm just going to run through these things quickly. I'm going to eat all the team up. I'm going to start with the winning team. Normally, likes, dislikes, banana tailpipe, we start with the road team. I just start with the victors. To the victors go the spoils. When you deliver an ass whooping, you get to be the first team broken down. So I'm going to run through all the things I saw in the game from the Ravens and all the things I saw from the Browns, and then we're going to take your comments, and we're going to get the hell out of here. Sounds like a plan to me. Let's do that. So we're going to start with the Ravens, the team that did the ass whooping in this game, and start with their likes in the first half for the Ravens. The end of the first half drive, they were down in this game 7-3. And I told you that sometimes even a field goal right before the half is a momentous change for a team. And they converted on 3 straight third downs. They hadn't done that much of the first half. Not a lot of conversions for them. And we know they struggle offensively due to the Ravens. And so that was a nice drive right before the half to get a field goal, to get within a point of the Cleveland Browns at 7-6. And again, going into the break with a field goal there gives you a little bit of momentum to come out in the next half. And they changed the tempo in the second half. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Matter of fact, let's jump into their likes for the second half. The opening drive of the second half, I thought, set the tempo for the second half itself. That momentum, and I talked about teams loving to double dip. That's getting some points before the half and then getting the football first to start the second half and getting more points. That's called double dipping. The Ravens did it in this game, getting a field goal before the half and then taking the lead for good in the third quarter with that opening drive as they moved it right down the field. And I thought the big thing in that drive was tempo. They came out, they changed the pace, which way they were running their offense, didn't allow the Browns to substitute a lot of players, got some mismatches, trapped some players into the field of play, couldn't get out of the game to substitute, and that gave them the opportunity to run up and down the field, 9 plays, 64 yards. They get into the end zone on a touchdown, the back of the end zone to Darren Waller. That gave them a 13-7 lead. They would never look back. Terrell Suggs, T. Sizzle doing what he does best, forcing a turnover, this time hitting the arm of Josh McCown as he throwing the football. That goes into the air, flutters right into the waiting arms of Gerard Powers. And even though that didn't turn into points for the Ravens, you saw where this was starting to head. They would ultimately get another interception by Eric Weddle. They would tack on another 2 touchdowns in this game, one to Steve Smith, the other to Bashad Perryman, and they would end up taking a 28-7 lead with also attacking on a 2-point conversion. So the offense actually got going in the second half, something we haven't seen. This was almost an offensive outburst for the Ravens. 3 touchdowns in one half of football. That is unheard of for the Ravens this season. So that's something maybe they can build on. Again, it's the Cleveland Browns, and they had basically waved the white flag as we got into the fourth quarter. So I don't know how much you really want to put stock into that. But again, do it. They give you an opportunity, seize that opportunity. You can only beat up who they put in front of you. They put an inferior Browns team in front of you. Go ahead and sweep them for the season. That's what the Ravens did in this game. You go to the dislikes for the Ravens in this game. First half, Flacco throws an interception. Can't throw interceptions. He's thrown too many this season. At one point, his stats in this game led the announcers to talk about his numbers on the season. And at the time, he was 7 touchdowns, 9 INTs after that second interception in the end zone to Joe Hayden. He's got to clean that up. Throws an interception. And Steve Smith didn't help him on that play. Pushes Brian Body Calhoun, the rookie, who I am really starting to like. Pushes him to the football, essentially, and he makes a really good play to corral it and bring it in. But yeah, don't do that. Don't throw an interception there. But again, Steve Smith needs to do a better job of fighting for that football. Don't push the defender towards the football. Don't help him. So in any event, Tavon Young with a pass interference on the lone touchdown drive for the Browns in this game. I thought that was a huge PI because if you don't give that up, I don't know if they convert on third down, which would have been brought up after that second down play. He didn't need to do that. He was in really good position. He didn't need to grab. He didn't need to put his arm around the receiver's outside shoulder or outside shoulder. He didn't need to do any of that. He was in great position. He didn't need to jump over the top. He was there early. It was definitely PI, and that helped set the table for Cody Kessler to find rookie Seth DeValve out of not Harvard, Princeton, a guy that I really liked coming out of the draft out of Princeton. I think he's a very athletic tight end that can help them, and you saw it on that particular play. We'll talk about that in a second, but didn't need that from Tavon Young, who has been playing really well for this Ravens team out of Temple. That's a young corner that I think has a bright future in this league, but didn't need that PI there. And then Flacco throws his second interception in the second half to Joe Hayden. You can't do that. In the end zone, you've already got a field goal, and just incredible Justin Tucker is just about money. So the fact that you just took 3 points off the scoreboard in a game that's 13-7, what are you doing? Don't do that. Come on. Joe, you know better than that. What are you doing? Come on, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. So that was a bad interception, but he rebounded for 2 touchdown passes after that. So he made amends for his mistakes in this game, ending with 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in this game, did Joe Flacco. So that's the Ravens in this game. Let's go to the losers in this game for the 10th consecutive time to start this season, the Cleveland Browns. Their likes in the first half. Body Calhoun with the interception. I told you I'm really starting to like Brian Body Calhoun. This rookie making some plays. Had the pick 6 versus the Dolphins earlier in the season. This is his second pick of the season. Really like what he's bringing to the table. I think he's got, like I talked about with Tavon Young, he's got a little bit of a good, nice, bright future ahead of him if he continues to mature with this Browns football team. The Browns have a lot of stuff that you can build, and you can see some talented football players there. It's all about these guys maturing together, and confidence. Confidence is fleeting with this team right now. Obviously, they don't have any. They haven't won any games, so that's something that you also need to instill in these players. But there are some talented football players, and I think Brian Body Calhoun is one of those young and up-and-coming players that could potentially help this Browns team as they try to turn things around in the future. Seth DeValve is another guy that I think can help them at the tight end position. Catches his first touchdown of his NFL career. The rookie out of Princeton. Very athletic. If he can stay healthy, a couple of knee injuries and some naggers during his college and collegiate career. If he can just stay healthy, I think this is a guy that can really help stretch the field because he's an athletic guy, can catch the football, can make some plays, and win one-on-one matchups. You saw him run by the safety and the I think it was a linebacker, may have been a corner there, but he ran by both of those players en route to getting to the football and getting into the end zone. I think Seth DeValve is the guy that I would like to see more of as this season progresses. You want to find out what you have in some of these young players. He's one of those guys I want to see play more and get more targets to wrap this season up. That gave the Browns a 7-3 lead. Then Jamie Collins is the last like in the first half. I thought he looked well out there on the football field. Thought he played well. Thought he moved around. He blitzed, got a sack, came off the edge, got pressure. He did some really good things in this game. Was running sideline to sideline, making plays. Jamie Collins is going to be a cornerstone if they can re-sign him, and I don't understand how you would trade away a third-round pick and not re-sign this guy. Obviously, if you can't reach a deal with him, you franchise him because you didn't just give away a third-round pick to not have this guy on your football team. So I don't see him going anywhere. To me, he's a cornerstone and one of those linchpin players moving forward because I think him and Christian Kirksey, I already told you that Christian Kirksey is a really good, young, up-and-coming linebacker. I think he's one of the best. And I don't like to throw these types of phrases and terms around, but I think he's one of the best young linebackers when you're talking about 3 years or less in the league. I think he's one of the best young linebackers. Obviously, leading that charge is my guy out in Pittsburgh, Ryan Shazier, when he's healthy, without a doubt. I think he's not only one of the best young linebackers, I think he's one of the best linebackers, period, in this league. But I think Christian Kirksey is another one of those young guys where I look at it, I say, man, this guy is going to be the wave of the future at the linebacker position. Uber athletic, can move, can run with tight ends and do some things in coverage, but also can blitz, can be a hammer around the line of scrimmage, can run sideline to sideline. You couple him up with Jamie Collins, and you have the nucleus of a really good linebacking core that can start to fill in the blanks along the defensive line and even into the secondary. So I think they have some stuff there, but Collins looks good. You go to the second half likes. Joe Hayden with the pick of Joe Flacco in the end zone. That was the only thing they did well in the second half of this game before things kind of became unhinged and everything fell apart at the seams for them. You go to their dislikes, and the first thing that I know that I could only laugh. I've never seen this in a game before. Never. I'm pretty sure it's happened before, but I've never seen it personally. The very first play of the game, the Browns have to use a timeout. That is so Cleveland Brownish. Like, what are you guys doing? First snap, they come out, and they got to use a timeout. They got 12 guys on the field. Are you kidding me? You can't even get personnel right on the first snap of the game. if that's not a bad omen, I don't know what is. I mean, you can't win a game when you got to burn a timeout on the very first snap because you got 12 guys on the field. You can't win after that. No, it's not allowed, man. Second half dislikes. The QB change. What the hell was up with that? I didn't understand that. And to me, that's where this game, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit. I don't want to spoil that. But what the hell was up with that? That was so unnecessary. We're going to talk about that a lot. We're going to delve into that. Josh McCown throws an interception. What the hell did you think was going to happen when you put Josh McCown in the game? I mean, seriously. Now, this first one really wasn't all his fault. Joe Thomas, for one of the rare few times, got beat by Terrell Suggs around the edge. And Suggs hit his arm, forces the ball to flutter in the air. It's picked off by Gerard Powers. That didn't really matter because Joe Flacco gave it right back. Joe Hayden picked him off in the end zone. And then Josh McCown says, wait a minute. I got to throw another interception. I'm not done yet. Throws a moon ball up into the end zone. It's picked off by Eric Weddle. And that did turn into points. Bashad Perriman ended up getting a touchdown to end that possession to put this game pretty much on ice at 28-7. Let's talk about where this game was won. Let's fast track this thing.
Well, wake her ass up! We're gonna win tomorrow!
Winning.
To me, where this game was won was simple. The minute Hugh Jackson thought it was a good idea to bench Cody Kessler in favor of Josh McCown, this game was done. What did Cody Kessler do wrong? I'm not understanding. I'm not following. Someone help me. My man Brian Fox, who is a big Cleveland Browns fan, said, well, Cody Kessler hasn't been delivering on third downs for 2 straight weeks. Who gives a damn? I don't care. You went to halftime winning 7-6, in which Cody Kessler did nothing wrong in the first half. You want to be upset? Be upset at guys not making plays. You want to be upset? Don't be upset at Cody Kessler. He's a rookie. Don't bench him for Josh McCown. Why? And I'm going to give you what Hugh's thought process was here. I'm going to tell you exactly what Hugh was thinking. We got a shot. We got a shot in this game. We went to halftime winning 7-6. The Ravens just went down and scored. It's now 13-6. Or we went to halftime up 7-6. Ravens just scored. It's now 13-7. I got a chance to win a game. I'm going to put the veteran quarterback in. I trust him. Bad move. That's bad news, Hugh. What the hell are you thinking? Really, seriously. You're 0-9. We know Josh McCown. We've seen that movie. We know how it ends. We don't want to watch that movie anymore. We've seen too many sequels of that movie. Seriously, we want them to stop production of the Josh McCown story. We don't want to watch that movie anymore. We'd like to see some more Cody Kessler, though. Because I've said this all season. What's wrong with Cody Kessler? I like Cody Kessler. Obviously, Hugh Jackson doesn't. He thinks Cody Kessler's the backup. To me, tonight showed me that Cody Kessler isn't the guy. Because if Cody Kessler is your guy, you don't bench him. Even if he's throwing interceptions and making a mockery of this game, you don't sit him down because in your mind, he has to learn. Because he's your guy. And you don't bench your guy. But you benched him, so that tells me he's not your guy. So I know with that first overall pick, because you're not winning any games this season, with that first overall pick, you're going to draft the quarterback. I don't know which one it's going to be. Probably just Deshaun Watson when it's all said and done. They look like they're going to the playoffs again, and it's probably going to be Deshaun Watson. I don't have a problem with that. But what I'm saying is, what's wrong with Cody Kessler? He's not the problem, and I've been saying that all season. He's not throwing interceptions. He's not fumbling the football. He's not the problem. And maybe there's receivers open on third down. You think you can deliver the football to him, whatever the case may be. He's not the problem. Not the biggest problem you got. And what you did in the second half by benching him is you created a problem that you didn't have in the first half, which was turnovers. This team isn't good enough to overcome turnovers. And by benching a guy that hasn't turned the football over a ton this season, you inserted a guy that's been a turnover machine for the duration of his career. So you created a problem that wasn't there in the first half. Good job, Hugh. Good job. And that's where this game was won. The Ravens won this game the second Hugh Jackson thought it was a genius idea to bench Cody Kessler in favor of Josh McCown. That's where this game was won. Now, let's get to your comments and wrap this thing on up.
What the hell?
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, B.
All right, so let's take a look at some of your comments, see what you guys have to say about this Browns football team and where they are right now and what you saw tonight. Enrique Valencia says, what is wrong with Joe Flacco? Despite the 3 touchdowns, he looked garbage. Joe's struggling right now. The offense, and as a whole, is struggling. There's not a lot of offensive continuity. I really don't know what's exactly wrong with the Ravens. I can't really put my finger on it. You could talk about all of the injuries to the offensive line. We saw 2 linemen go down tonight. Zutag came back, but the other offensive lineman, I can't remember his name, that went down with the ankle injury. He did not return, but they did get some good news on him. That's not a broken ankle or anything like that. The x-rays were negative. So I think it's just a matter of him just resting up. You know, it's going to swell up. Obviously, they got 10 days. I don't expect him to play next week, but it's not a season-ending injury as it looked and appeared to be when he was carted off the field. So they've got some injuries up front, obviously, but that's no excuse. This offense just hasn't been good this year. You could blame it on the play calling. You could blame it on the lack of weapons. I still think that they don't necessarily know exactly what they have. You know, the tight end position, which we thought was a strength, I haven't seen anybody making any plays this year. You know, good to see Darren Waller catch a touchdown, but at one point, Dennis Pitta had like 6 catches for 24 yards. That's 4 yards a catch. I mean, you're not scaring anybody with that. I mean, I don't really know if they understand the weapons that they have and how to utilize them best. You know, Mike Wallace is a weapon. You saw him catch the football. Get it into his hands quicker. You know, Perriman, another guy that can run. I mean, get these guys the football quicker. Right now, I don't really know exactly what the Ravens' identity is offensively. I don't think they know what their offensive identity is. I think that's part of the reason why Flacco is struggling. They're asking too much of Joe Flacco. The run game hasn't been consistent this year, and so it's hard to pinpoint. Joe Flacco hasn't looked sharp this year, but then again, this offense hasn't been very sharp at all either. Captain Spartan 04 says, 2 theories. They took out Kessler. They want to go 0-16 and end the Devil's Curse so they can get Fournette. They're not drafting a running back here, man. They're drafting a quarterback. And I know they got a ton of picks early in this draft, but they're not gonna get a running back and a quarterback. Not the caliber of Fournette. The Eagles aren't going to be bad enough. I thought the Eagles going into the season had a chance to be, one of those 4-12, 5-11 teams. Eagles are going to win at least 7 games, which is going to put them in the middle of the draft, probably the 16th, 15th, 16th pick, somewhere in there. And so that's a nice pick to have if you're the Browns, but obviously it's not going to be good enough to get you a Fournette-esque type running back, which I don't think running back is a problem. Again, don't start drafting stuff just to be drafting stuff. Fournette would help, but you don't have a running back problem. Isaiah Crowell isn't the problem on your football team. So I didn't agree with the decision to bench Kessler. He's perfectly healthy. Put him in the game. Let him play. I just didn't understand that at all. Captain Spartan 04 says the other theory is that they had scouts at North Carolina game. This is a fact. And they saw Mitch doing all right. And they said, let's just admit Cody isn't the answer. They're not drafting the quarterback from North Carolina. If they do, I don't think he's that much better than Cody Kessler. I mean, like, I've watched him a couple of times this year, and he's okay. He's not great. We'll see. I mean, obviously, they've got some homework to do because they're gonna have the first pick in the draft. I'm convinced of that. Victor Martinez says, "Is Hugh Jackson's job safe?" Yeah, he's not going anywhere. Look, when he took this job, when the Browns signed him up, they understood that this was going to be a reclamation project, and that they were looking to kind of strip this team bare and start over from scratch. That's why you heard the Joe Hayden rumors, the Joe Thomas rumors, even though I didn't think they would get rid of Joe Thomas because He's the one guy that they have on their team that they can actually say, this is a Cleveland Brown player that you have to respect. Joe Hayden is often injured, so he's not, to me, the face of the franchise. I think that's Joe Thomas right now, and to get rid of him would be really an insult to that franchise, because then you have nothing left. Then you have no players that anybody should respect around the league. Again, Joe Hayden is a respectable player, but how often is he playing? That's the question. So Hugh Jackson isn't going anywhere. He knew what he signed up for. I don't think he expected to lose this bad and this much, but he knew this was going to be a tough season. It's bad, though, but he's not going anywhere. Captain Spartan 04 says, Josh needs to retire now. He doesn't even look like a decent backup. And that's crazy because earlier in the season, he was fine. And then he injures the collarbone, and he just looks skittish out there now. It is what it is. Eagle Speed is a nerd, says Browns on the road to 0-16. Like I said, I don't see them winning the game. They had the Jets on the ropes. They let them off the hook. That was their best opportunity. I just don't see them winning the game this season. I hope I'm wrong. I hate to see a team go 0-16 like the Lions did in, what was it, 07 or 08? I think it was 08 because they got Stafford the next year. I'd hate to see them go 0-16 and go down in infamy like the 08 Lions. That's not good for anybody. They got to find a way to win a game. I just don't know who you get it from. You couldn't beat the Jets at home. I don't know who you're going to beat. That's the biggest issue. Now, Mind Draw says, today I saw that you were talking about the Browns not looking 0-16. They do have talent. I love how good their young D-line is looking. They're going to be 0-16 this season. I'm convinced of it. Again, in this league, it's so crazy. You expect them to be able to jump up and bite somebody at some point and get a win. Christian Kirksey came out and said, hey, we're not going 0-16 this year. Good luck with that, buddy. You're going to need it. Hugh Jackson agreed with him. Of course, what are they supposed to say? Yeah, we're going to probably go 0-16. No, they're supposed to be confident and think that they're going to win a game, but I don't know who they're going to beat. That's the simple matter of the fact fact of the matter is, who the hell are they going to beat? You had a chance to beat the Jets, and you didn't do it at home. Like, I don't know who you think you're going to beat if you couldn't beat the Jets and you were up 20-7. I don't understand. But this team does have some stuff. They're building stuff. Mondraw says, the McCown change looked good to me, but after that interception, get Kessler back in. Come on. I never thought it was a good idea. Never thought that putting in McCown was going to give them a spark. I just didn't. I didn't think Cody Kessler didn't do anything wrong. You go look at his numbers. His completion percentage is high. It's a high touchdown to interception ratio. It's like 4-1. I think he's got 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the season. Is he flashy? No. But he's not losing you football games. Josh McCown came in and threw this game away. Not to say that they were going to win it anyway, but it was 13-6 when he came into the game. He promptly threw 2 interceptions, and the game became 28-7. It was 13-7, excuse me. And he promptly came in and threw 2 interceptions, and the game became 28-7. Now, the defense didn't help, but if you keep putting the defense all out on the field and you're not giving them any help, they're going to feel hopeless. At some point, they're going to wave the white flag and start giving up, and that's what happened in the second half. Captain Spartan 04 says, here are all the players I think the Browns should stick with. Their GMs should they'll get rid of. Danny Shelton, Cooper, Orchard, Hayden, Williams, Irving. I'm not impressed with Cameron Irving. Every time I see him, he's getting beat. Greco and Andrew Hawkins. So we'll see what happens. But they got some stuff on that team. Mandra or BHCMREJ says, I think they put McCown in because he has killed us the last couple of times we played the Browns. I understand that. But this wasn't the game for that. And I know he lit the Ravens up last year in Baltimore and helped the Browns beat them there. It doesn't matter. That was last year. And they had that wacky game with the blocked field goal where the Ravens won at the end. This isn't last year, though. Cody Kessler didn't do anything wrong in the first half. They were winning at halftime. Why would you make that change? I just don't understand. Doesn't make any, and nothing anyone can say can make sense to me. Nothing anyone can say can make it make sense. It didn't make sense. And again, what this proves to me, though, I did get this out of that. Cody Kessler, not the quarterback of the future for the Cleveland Browns. That's what this told me tonight. And I kept singing the praises of Cody Kessler and saying, why not Cody Kessler? Now I know it's not going to be Cody Kessler. I'm convinced of that now. All right. Captain Spartan 04 says, Isaiah Crowell, is there a reason Hugh is not giving him the rock? He doesn't trust Fournette. Would be a possibility. Now, I just think Hugh wants to throw the football. Simple as that. They've run the ball well this season, but for some reason, and this is an epidemic around the league. It's not just Hugh Jackson. I talk about this all the time. Coordinators and head coaches who call plays get pass happy. Most head coaches want to throw the football because that's the cool thing to do. Running is nice, but if you're not scoring points off of running the football, then you get tired of running. Like, you can't beat the Cowboys because the Cowboys actually score points off of running. If you're not scoring points off of rushing the football, then you get tired of running. So you're like, okay, let's throw it. Most teams around the league, even though they can run it, want to throw it. Even when it doesn't make sense. It's just the way of the world in the National Football League now. Mondraw says, I think Kessler was not delivering deep with those weak throws, and those weak throws created go routes and into comeback routes. He was having success, though. Again, nothing anyone can explain can make this make sense. I don't give a damn if his arm's not that strong. We knew Cody Kessler didn't have a big, strong arm coming out of SC. We knew that. This isn't a surprise. So, that's not an excuse. Leave him in the game. We know what Josh McCown is. Leave Cody Kessler in the game. Mondraw says, by the way, Tavon Young, gives Tavon Young some love. He was balling. I already did. Tavon Young's been playing good this season. Captain Spartan 04 says, how can they not figure that they have a dangerous tight end depth? Pitta, Gilmore, Max Williams. Between injuries, suspensions, and whatever else, their tight end situation just hasn't been what I thought it was going to be this season. Mondraw says, is Joe Flacco elite? Ha ha ha. Come on, man. You know the answer to that. Joe Flacco's a really good quarterback. I told you why I love Joe Flacco. He hasn't even done that this season. He's been really lackluster this season. The Joe Flacco I know is cold-blooded at the end of football games. Ice water in his veins. I mean, literally, the cold stare of death at the end of games. You look into that man's eyes and you look into his soul and you see a dude that's ready to rip your heart out at the end of a football game. Haven't seen that guy this year. Had a chance to do it against the Redskins, didn't do it. Had a chance to do it against the Raiders, didn't do it. He's had opportunities to win games late this season, hasn't been able to do it. That's not the Joe Flacco I know. And he's turned it over this year. The offense has been anemic. You can answer your own question. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000. Should have double team T Sizzle because Joe is still great, but that swim move get him beat. And but I don't blame him, by the way, just asking. Nah, you don't double team. Not with Joe Thomas, a Hall of Fame football player. You don't devote another blocker and take an eligible away to help Joe Thomas. That's not what you do. If Joe can't handle him, Joe can't handle him. But Joe usually handles his. You normally don't have to help him out. Enrique Valencia says, why are the Browns still an NFL team? Stop. Stop. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says, what do you think about the Ravens defense? I actually think the Ravens defense is getting better. I remember when this used to be the linchpin of this franchise, this organization, was their defense. They could always hang their hat on their defense. Then they went through, after they won, even the year they won the Super Bowl, the defense wasn't all that great in 2013. Or was it? It was 2012, I believe. The defense wasn't even that great in that season. They've been okay to subpar on defense for the last 5 or 6 years now, but they're starting to get back to playing Ravens football. They stopped the run. One of the best run-stopping teams. I watched them shut down L.Bell last week, and that was one of the reasons why they won the game last week. And now that I'm looking at this Ravens football team, I'm starting to think they're getting a lot better in that secondary. Remember, we knew that the secondary was going to be suspect, or at least that's what the book on them was going into the season. Got some issues in that secondary. Sharice Wright out there. They got some problems. But now Ladarius Webb seems to be playing better and more comfortable at safety. Eric Weddle's coming over. He's solid. You're getting some play out, a good play out of Tavon Young. All of a sudden now, you got some stuff. Jimmy Smith stays healthy. You got some stuff out there. So this Ravens defense is coming along. C.J. Mosley, solid at linebacker. Orr has been a really good player for you. Zadarius Smith, all these guys, T. Sizzle went healthy. You know what you're getting out of him. All these guys starting to play for you. Brandon Williams being a rock for you inside. You're getting some good play out of the young Florida State player, Jernigan. There's some stuff now. They got stuff. And so it's starting to come together for them, for this Ravens football team. Protect428 says, will the Ravens win the AFC North, or is it still? I still think this is the Steelers division to lose. That Ravens offense is still anemic, despite scoring I don't know if they ended on 28 or if they scored more points. But this offense is still anemic. I still don't have any confidence in this offense whatsoever. And I don't think their defense, even though I think it's a really good unit, I don't think they're good enough to carry this team by themselves. They need help, whether it be from special teams or offense. And right now I don't think they're getting it from either one, or at least not on a consistent enough basis to win this division. I still think this is the Steelers' division to lose. But that being said, the Steelers could lose this division. It's very possible. We'll see. K. Michael says, would Wentz have made a difference on this team if he was drafted? Hard to say, but I'd like to think that Hugh would have been able to do some creative things with him, and maybe they win a game or two by now with Carson Wentz. But that's no here nor there. Hugh said that wasn't his guy, so that wasn't his guy. We move on. All right. Protect428 says, can Cody be a starter somewhere else? Maybe. He's a soft tosser. I don't think he's a starter necessarily. I just thought for this Browns team as constructed right now, maybe you need to build around the position of quarterback and let Cody Kessler just play quarterback now while you build. I was thinking of a Seattle Seahawks type of mold where you build around the position of quarterback until you find that guy. And while you got all these draft picks and I think you've drafted well enough to where there's enough stuff already on the roster that's young, and you've got a boatload of picks coming up this year where you can just build around the quarterback position, not necessarily around a player because you don't have the guy yet, but Cody Kessler can be serviceable enough until you find your Russell Wilson, like the Seahawks did. They built around the position of quarterback. And then they found Russell Wilson. They got lucky, and they had all this defensive talent, all these solid offensive guys, and they had enough stuff to go out and win a Super Bowl because they built around the position. They didn't have the guy. They just built around that position. They drafted well. They brought in the right free agents, and voila. They had the winning formula. They got lucky. They got Russell Wilson in the third round, and he proved to be a gem. And boom, they were ready to rock and roll. I just felt like, why not draft a guy like the Texas A&M defensive end? Why not draft him instead of going out and drafting a quarterback who may not be ready to play, who might not be protected by the best offensive line, who may not have the best weapons around him? Why do that? Why not get a guy that can come in, impact your team greatly on the defensive side of football, which will help you win games, because if you can stop teams from scoring, guess what? You can win in this league. Cody Kessler isn't terrible. I'd take Myles Garrett and keep it moving with that first pick. You get another one. Eagles are going to be 7-9, 6-10 maybe. You're going to get the 13th to the 18th pick in the draft as well, in addition to your number one overall pick. Then you take maybe a good wide receiver there or something else you feel like is going to help you. Boom. Just like that, you're building around the position of quarterback, but you don't necessarily take one. But like I said, they're going to take a quarterback. This game showed me that. Captain Spartan 04 says, it's nice they honor their coach by naming their team after him, but they need to no longer be the Cleveland Browns. Stay in Cleveland, just change the name. For what? What's the reasoning behind that? I don't understand. Bro, can Corey, and this is from Protect428, bro, can Corey Coleman be a number one wide receiver? Is he healthy right now? He's healthy enough. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him. Look, Corey Coleman didn't run routes at Baylor. I mean, you can't have this guy come in here and just start lighting up, especially after he's missed 6 games with a broken hand. He needs all the reps he can get. He's healthy now, but the problem is that injury stunted his growth. Now he's got to start all over again. He's starting to do good things. In that Ravens game, the first game they played against the Ravens, I think it was week 2 or 3, where he lit them up. He was killing them. Then he broke his hand. And this was his first game back since then. So he might be able to be a number one, but I think Terrell Pryor is their number one receiver. You don't need a number one. I think Terrell Pryor can be a number one receiver. Corey Coleman can be your number 2, and you will be fine. Just find some more stuff. They drafted a ton of receivers last year. Find out which one of these guys are good. Keep the ones that are. Get rid of the ones that aren't. Let's move on. Captain Spartan 04 says, if Weddle, Suggs, and Steve Smith all retire after this season, who would be the veteran leader? Then you would get into a Ladarius Webb situation where Webb would turn into the automatic leader. He'd probably be the longest tenured Raven at that point. And you just move forward from there. Lucas Compton says, how about Michael Pierce? That kid can play. Can you believe he was a UDFA? He's been balling, man. I really haven't been paying much attention to him. I saw him make a play tonight, and I heard him talking about him, and I'm like, wow. That was an impressive play that I saw him make tonight. He looks good. And that's what you got to do when you become, and that's why the Ravens are good defensively this year, is because you got to get lucky too. You got to find a guy that's undrafted. You got to unearth those types of gems when you're trying to build your defense back up. Look at what the Lions did with their guy. Shucks, I forgot his name, but he's got 7 sacks on the season. He's an undrafted guy. You know, you got to get lucky like that sometimes. Kerry Hyder Jr. is his name. You got to get lucky sometimes. You know, you got to unearth a gem every now and again. It's not always going to be draft picks. Got to find guys that are diamonds in the rough, and they may have found one with Pierce, for sure. Captain Spartan 4 says, better quarterback, Cody or your favorite quarterback? Come on, don't ask me that. Let's see. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says, is CJ Mosley going to be better than Ray Lewis? No. Captain Spartan 04 says, because the Browns name just doesn't seem to fit anymore. They're the Browns. Why doesn't it fit anymore? They're the Browns. The only thing that I don't like is that they're the Browns and their helmet is orange. Other than that, they're the Browns. What's wrong with that? I don't have a problem with them being the Browns. Eagle Speed is a nerd says, the Browns need to get RG3 back healthy and need to have him at least 20 rushing touchdowns. RG3's career is done. Robert Griffin III is done in this league. He may get one more shot. I doubt it. His career is finished. I'm waiting on the 30 for 30, the rise and fall of Robert Griffin III. I'm waiting for that. Maybe sometime next year or the year after that. I'm waiting on that 30 for 30. It should be a damn good episode. Protect428 says, what's up with Kenneth Dixon? He hasn't looked so good. No one's on that offense has looked good. Nothing's wrong with Kenneth Dixon. He had an injury at the end of the preseason that kept him out for the first couple games, but he's fine. He's fine. This offense just isn't very good. Period. Don't point fingers at any one particular player. This entire offense has been a failure this season, and that includes the coaching staff, the players, everyone. No one's excused or excluded from the blame. They just haven't been good this season, period. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says, Tavon Young, the best rookie corner right now. There's some good rookie corners this year. One was in this game. Brian Body Calhoun has played well this season. The Atlanta Falcons have a corner. I can't remember his name right now, but he's playing some good football for them. Poole. His name is Poole. He's playing some good football. There's some young corners playing some solid football as rookies this year. Tavon Young among them for sure. So that's going to do it for this program. I don't see any more comments, and I'll check Twitter quickly. Nope, nothing on Twitter. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Ravens get the win. They go to 5-4 in the season. I feel like they're still not going to win this division unless the offense gets better. I just don't have confidence in this offense right now. Marty Mornhinweg needs to do a better job of putting players in positions to make plays. I don't think they're doing that right now. I think Flacco needs to step his game up. They showed a red zone possession where Steve Smith is running across the field on a drag route, and he decides to throw the football away, and he wasted an opportunity. Get the football in Steve Smith's hands, and let's see if he can't get it into the end zone. They got to be better. Everyone needs to be better. I don't think this team right now is maximizing the amount of talent that they have, especially on the offensive side of football. They got a ton of team speed on that side of the football between Moore and Wallace and Perryman, and you just don't get to see it used very often because they don't give these guys a chance to utilize that. I'm not talking of deep shots and throwing it down the field. I'm talking about getting the football in these guys' hands with blockers out in front and allowing them to maybe hit a seam and go and show off and showcase the speed. They're not giving these guys chances. A slant, something quick, like we saw with Mike Wallace when he beat Joe Hayden off the line of scrimmage early in the second half and ran for like 30 yards. Get it into their hands quick so that they can showcase their God-given ability. We're just not seeing that with this Ravens offense. I just don't like what they're doing. And so unless they're able to change some things, I don't see this Ravens team winning this division. But they're at 5-4. They're leading this division. And no matter what happens with the Bengals or the Steelers this weekend, the Ravens will still be in first place come next week, week number 11 in the National Football League. Browns dropped to 0-10. Look, I'll be very surprised if they win a game this season. They're not a good football team right now. And they're lacking the one thing you need to win in this league, and that's confidence. They have zero of it right now. And that you only get that by winning. They aren't winning, and so it's a problem for them right now. They've got talent. They just don't have enough right now of the confidence that's necessary to win a football game. So that's going to do it for me here on Thursday Night Football Overtime. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie Tee Network, Thursday Night Football Overtime. Got a couple more comments. I'll knock these out quickly. Protect428 says, who's better, Kendall Fuller or Tavon Young? Fuller's been outstanding for the Redskins. Young has been outstanding for the Ravens. One guy, I think, is really limited to the slot, and I think Fuller is limited to the slot. I don't like him out wide. Whereas with Young, I think you can put him in the slot or you can put him out wide, and he's actually played well in both instances. So right now I give the nod to Young, but I tell you what, Fuller has been outstanding for the Redskins as well. Protect428 says, or I just read that question. Captain Spartan 04 says, there was a hidden gem I really liked last year that went undrafted. Cornerback DeAndre Elliott, and the Seahawks got him currently on their IR. Seahawks love doing that, love stashing young players and working with them. And then next thing you know, he'll be taking over for Jeremy Lane before it's all said and done. And then you'll be like, wow, where did this guy come from? They've been working with him for 2 years, and now he's ready to rock and roll. That's what the Seahawks do. That's why the Seahawks don't drop off, because they allow big prize free agents to walk, like Byron Maxwell, like a Browner, who make their name out in Seattle. They go on the greener pastures, and they just bring the next guy up. Come on, bring the next guy up. They keep the guys that are important, like a Sherman, like a Wagner. They keep those guys around, like a Michael Bennett, and they let the guys that are expendable walk, because they have other guys that they've been grooming on their IR, on their practice squad, grooming to be the next guy up on that defense. So that's how the good teams do it. In any event, that's going to do it for me. I thank you for checking out the program, man. Browns get destroyed on Thursday Night Football. What'd you expect? 28-7. Didn't expect the Ravens to score that many points, to be honest with you, but the Browns basically packed it in the second half of this game, and the Ravens took full advantage of that Browns defense. Flacco finally stopped turning it over and started finding his own players. They made some plays for him in that second half. They run away with this game. And like I said, may have ended in a different score. Matter of fact, let's check right now as I get out of here. The game ended at 28-7. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I will see you guys on the other side after games have been played on Sunday for lockdown coverage. For all of you out there who joined me and commented, thank you. And for myself, Louie T, this has been Thursday Night Football Overtime. Have a good one. Take care. God bless. And good night. See you next time.
Broncos won the Super Bowl when Peyton Manning retired. 49ers won 5 games and Tom Sula got fired. RG's in Cleveland and my Rams hit the West Coast. Be sleepless in Seattle, cause that 12-man ain't beast mode. Oh yeah, I knew it was something I forgot to mention. Yeah, old Tom Brady about to get that suspension. Yeah, I know the Pats fans probably think that's whack. Yeah, but at the end of the day, your balls was flat. It's that time again.